Hi, Ms. Nina Kanam. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Sure, Abhi. So my name is Nina Kanyo. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Sungai Buloh. I'm currently working in a small medium enterprise located in Damansara, Perdana, and my firm's name is Lee Partners Consulting Sdn Bhd. So the reason why it's called Lee Partners Sdn Bhd is because my director's name is Lee, so that's why it's named after her. So partners, we have several directors or partners, so it's a partnership. Not partnership because we're Sdn Bhd, but there are several partners, so that's why it's Lee Partners Consulting.
So, how many years of experience do you have working in?
Thank you for the question. I've been working there for 5 years now. It's going to be my 6th year. This coming, May, right? Yeah, it's already been 6 years, I think. How many staffs I have in my office is, we have about 10 staffs, including me. We have around 3 departments, accounting, taxation, and secretary. Our working hour is around 8 hours. Depends if we have OT, but usually we don't. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, let's start with the Q&A questions. Ms. Meena, can you describe your understanding of the professional ethics in your field?
Sure, Ms. Lakshmi. Okay, so professional ethics in my industry, because it's in the accounting industry. So what we have to comply is that we have to be confidential about our clients' financial information, and confidentiality is the most important thing. Second one is you have to be very objective, in a sense that you cannot be biased with your clients. In case you have like 2 clients, for example, so let's say you like client A and you like client B, you cannot be biased towards these clients, because end of the day it has to be a fair accounting or financial information. You cannot be choosing one party. This is because end of the day the users, you're actually killing the users, because when you're biased to one and you're not biased to the other one, it's not going to give accurate results of the financial information. So that's why you have to maintain the most important thing, confidentiality and objectivity in your professional ethics.
Ms. Meena, how do you ensure that you maintain ethical standards in your work?
Alright, so how do I maintain is that one, you have to keep yourself updated by learning through what are the changes that have been made in the industry. For example, like tax provisions, usually changes every now and then. So for you to keep yourself updated, you may have to attend seminars or training courses. So these seminars are usually conducted by professional organizations, for instance like KPMG or Ernst & Young or PwC. Secondly is you have to make sure that you're independent with your clients or colleagues. So for example, if let's say you're very dependent with your clients, you may tend to be biased as well. So bias affects the accuracy of the report, and also you may actually help them in a sense that maybe reduce the profit here or reduce the tax, which is ethical. So that's why you have to make sure that you are independent with your client or colleagues.
Like set a boundary.
Yes, you have to set a boundary. You cannot be too close to them, because if you're close to them, then they affect your work.
Ms. Meena, can you give an example of a difficult ethical dilemma you face in your organization or profession, and how you handle it?
Okay, so we talk about dilemma, right? Especially in this industry, usually clients will ask us to return a blind eye, meaning they will ask us to amend the accounts. For instance, like management lah. So management asks us to just tweak the account so that it shows a good image or good profit, so the investors would want to invest more. They have that's why they have a good image. So, but is it ethical? It's not ethical. So you're actually going against the law. Because for example, if you show low profit, it means low tax.
Yes.
So it means you're underpaying your tax, which is not ethical also. So you have to make sure that your clients understand this, that doing this could actually cause them big consequences in the future. Maybe if let's say tax department find out about this, they may have to pay penalty for underpaying the taxes, and they may have to be imprisoned, or I'm not sure. So it depends what the tax department says. So in order to avoid these consequences, we have to make sure that the client understand that they're not supposed to do this.
How do you handle conflict of interest in your work?
Alright, conflict of interest usually arises when the parties don't understand what is happening in the company. So in my opinion, I think communication is the key. So when you have a good understanding and communication with the 2 parties, so I don't think so there'll be conflict of interest. They just have to sit down and talk it out. So when you sit down and talk it out, you know what went wrong and how you can handle the situation. So you basically identify the risk, and then you're working towards mitigating the risk.
Can you give an example of a situation where someone else in your organization was acting unethically?
Alright, Ken. This happened in my first year when I joined the company. So there was like a bit of gossiping going on. It's a small company, it's a 10 staff company, so words can move around very fast. So gossiping happened and all. So there was like two sides of group A, group B lah. Okay, that's how we put it. So group A going to talk to group B and group B going to talk to group A, and then there was always a middle person who's going to like connect the two of them. So when group A wants to tell the information to group B, it has to go through the middle person. So it is not fair for the middle person to go through this burden, and it's not ethical also. Because for a company with 10 staff, you've got to be united for you to do all of the works. So in order for you to submit everything on time lah. Okay. So what happened is that we tried to talk it out. The wise thing to do is to try to talk it out, and that's the most professional way. Instead of fighting and doing other stuff, instead of calling other party to track them or what. So the easy way to do is to just talk it out and handle the situation professionally. Like maybe the worst case scenario is you have to report to your supervisor. If you cannot do that, you have to go to your boss.
So, Ms. Mina, have you ever reported any of these issues that happens in the company?
Okay, unfortunately, I did not go through the situation, but my colleague, what happened is that she reported the situation. So she was a middle person. So what happened is that she straight away went to the boss. She told the boss, "Sir, this is not healthy for the company. That that we have two groups and it's not going anywhere. The problem is still there. So we have to find a solution for it." So what the boss did is that he asked the two groups to come inside. Actually, it's not two groups. It's just maybe one person, another person. So he asked the person to come inside, and then they talk it out. And that's it. So the key, as I mentioned, is now communication. So for you to have a better understanding, for you to avoid any conflict of interest, is you have to talk it out. If you don't talk it out, you wouldn't know what the other person is thinking or what they're going to say also. So it's important for you to just let it go. Yeah, true.
Ms. Mina, can you describe the company's approach of ensuring that all the employees are treated fairly and without any discrimination?
Alright, so in terms of fair treatment, we'll talk about money first. Money talks. So when it comes to bonuses or any compensation, it all based on your performance. So it applies to all the staff. So for example, you have completed 10 tasks, another person has completed 20 tasks. So of course the person who completed 20 tasks will get more bonus. So it's fair and square. So nobody is being unfair here.
Yes.
Right? So everybody's treated equally. So it all based on your performance. And when it comes to complaints or bullying and all, you have the rights to go and complain to the person in charge, meaning the supervisor or your boss. You can straight away go to your boss also, because my boss is a very approachable person, so he's very friendly. You can just tell to him, you can just talk to him normally also. So he actually listens to you. So if you really have an issue, you have the rights to go and tell and let him handle also. If you don't want to confront the person directly.
Yeah.
So when you have this, you wouldn't have a doubt also, in the sense that you won't feel down. You always have a person to rely on, and you won't feel demotivated.
Yes.
So that's the most important thing when it comes to handling staffs fairly.
Ms. Mina, how does the company ensure that employees who raise concern about ethical or legal issues are protected from retaliation or negative consequences?
Okay, so in my company we have whistleblower policies. So whistleblower policy is you're not going to mention the person who gave you the information. So this is very important, so that the person who you complained about doesn't coming back stabbing knife at you or whatever. So you want to protect yourself. To avoid that, the company won't disclose the information. So just want the information, but they don't disclose the person who informed about the information. So we have the boss has to be very clear and precise about the policy that he's going to announce to all the staffs about this whistleblower policy. Moving on is that a company should provide trainings to all the employees about the ethical procedures or professional skepticism even in the terms of reporting ethical issues or legal violations. So he has to mention what are things that it's under these violations and all. So you cannot simply go and tell, he took my coffee, he took my cup. It's not violation. That's not an ethical thing, right? So he's just borrowing your cup. So you have to mention what comes under these categories, so the employees also would know, okay, this is actually illegal or unethical, so you'll be able to complain also. So coming back to whistleblower, when you have such policies, right, the employees also will have the confidence and they won't be scared to raise their voice, to raise their voice to actually complain about it. So they'll be, in a sense, that they'll be frightened. So they'll be frightened that something will happen to them. So they have confidence to go and complain about the issue which will happen in the company. That's it.
Overall, maintaining an ethical standards in the workplace is critical for business to ensure their long-term success, reputation, and sustainability. Here are some key recommendations for the business. Firstly, ethics and compliance should be a top priority. Business should prioritize ethics and compliance by creating a culture of integrity, setting clear ethical standards and expectations, and providing employees with the necessary training and resources to uphold these standards. Besides that, clear policies and procedures are essential. Companies should have clear policies and procedures in place to address ethical and legal issues, including confidential reporting mechanisms, investigation procedures, and non-retaliation policies. Next, having regular training is also very necessary. Employees should receive regular trainings on ethical behaviors, company policies and procedures, and the consequences of the non-compliance. One of the most important recommendations is effective leadership. Leaders should model ethical behavior and hold themselves and their team accountable for upholding ethical standards. Lastly, I would like to recommend a continuous monitoring and improvements. Companies should regularly assess their ethical and legal risk, view and update their policies and procedures, and monitor and measure their compliance efforts to ensure continuous improvements. If a company does not prioritize ethics and legal practice by failing to follow the recommendation mentioned above, it can face significant problems that can negatively impact its long-term success and sustainability. Here are some of the problems that a company can face. Firstly, legal and financial consequences. Failure to comply with legal and ethical regulation can lead to lawsuit, fines, penalties, and reputational damage. This can result in significant financial losses for the company. Secondly, the lack of ethical standards and legal practice can negatively impact an employee's moral and productivity. Employees may feel demotivated and disengaged, leading to high turnover rates and lower productivity levels. And other than that, the most importantly, failure of prioritizing ethics and legal practice can lead to a decrease in shareholders' value as an investors. They become wary of investing in a company with poor reputations.
In terms of implementation, business should establish a comprehensive ethics and compliance program that incorporates the recommendations. This program should be supported by the senior leadership, communicate effectively to all employees, and regularly review and update to reflect changes in the business environment. It is also important for businesses to regularly engage with their stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and the wider community, to understand their expectation and concern regarding ethics and compliance. From this, businesses can build trust, maintain a positive reputation, and achieve long-term success. In conclusion, ethics and compliance are critical component of any successful business. It is essential for companies to create a culture of integrity and prioritize ethics and compliance by setting clear ethical standards, providing regular training to employees, establishing clear policy and procedures, and ensuring effective leadership. By doing so, the business can minimize legal and ethical risk, protect their reputation, and foster a positive workplace culture. It is also crucial for companies to regularly monitor and improve their ethics and compliance program to ensure they remain effective and relevant. Overall, prioritizing ethics and compliance is not only the right thing to do, but also necessary for long-term success and sustainability in today's complex business environment.